Hey everybody, it's Casey Williams. Well, as we entered the new automotive season this fall, the average price of a new vehicle crossed $50,000. And even for someone who makes way above average income, that is a lot of money for a new vehicle. But you can buy very nice cars for less than half of that average. Like this little sachet of cachet we have this week, the 2026 Mazda 3. Let's go look at it. Mazda has long proved that you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a very beautiful car. I have long liked the Mazda 3 hatchback. I think it's one of the most beautiful cars on the road at any price. But this week we have the sedan, and it's also a pretty handsome car if you don't like hatchbacks. Starting in the front, just beautiful. Just the way the hood kind of wraps over the front headlamps, sort of like an eyebrow. Just subtle chrome. This car has the carbon package, so you get the black grille, the black accents down below, 18-inch black wheels. But just look at the side profile. It's just every detail, every crease, every curve, every form is just very delicately put on the car. I love this line that comes off the hood, rises here into the front pillar. This line that comes off and curves into the back. Got another line here that comes in. Again, just creates tension in design, just keeps it from looking too bulky. It just looks very sporty, it just looks like it's wrapped over those wheels. I just think it's beautiful. Come around the back, these narrow tail lamps. It's something we don't look at very often because we don't have very many of them. There's actually a trunk on this car, and it's a very roomy trunk. I mean, it's a compact car supposedly, but it's really more mid-sized proportions. No problem getting 2 people their luggage, 4 people in a pinch if you needed to. Also, nice little pulls here to get the back seats to fold down. So you can get some pretty big objects in here. If you want to take the front wheel off your sport bike, put it in here, that won't be a problem. Keeping in mind this is a compact car and not a full-size crossover, there's actually a reasonable amount of space back here. The front seats are scalloped out. The front seats where I would normally have it. Seats, so you're not rubbing against the seat. I wouldn't ride cross country back here, but to go to dinner with friends or to take some friends out to lunch at work, I think plenty of space for that. Certainly plenty of space for the kids. But what I really noticed too is it's very nicely upholstered and very nicely outfitted back here. Sometimes cars, especially compact cars, in the rear seat just feel kind of cheap. This actually feels nice. Like the armrest, there's a place where it actually indents and stops instead of just running down to the seat and just flopping into the seat. I like the material, the leather feels very nice. If you have child seats, the plug's right here, easy to click in. Some other things I really like, just the headliner just feels nice, feels expensive. If I start tapping around, there's some hard plastic in places that's soft touch in the front, but there's also red stitching here. Everything looks and feels far nicer than you expect it to in the back of this car. The Mazda 3's interior does a really good impression of the luxury cars. If you compare this to a lower-end Lexus, lower-end Audi, it would compare very, very favorably. And this isn't a luxury branded car. And I've really liked this generation of Mazda 3. It's been out a few years. I spent a lot of miles in it, a lot of hours in these cars. The hatchback, and again, this is my first time in the sedan, but the hatchback I've driven many, many times. And it just feels far more expensive and far nicer than it really needs to be. And just look at the dashboard layout. Nice 3 gauges. They look very, very Alfa Romeo, look very Mercedes the way they lay out. Nice leather wrapped steering wheel, sport wheel. Again, feels expensive, nice notches, just grips your hand really well. But when you start tapping on the interior, this is all padded, the dash is all padded. There's not hard plastic. Padded here as well, all the way down the door. And again, a lot of the competitors, a lot of hard plastic in the dashboard and in the doors. This feels very expensive. If I get down lower, I find some, but it's very nice. What I like though is I also like the design layout. Every detail, like the exterior, feels like it was just very well thought out. You've got the air vents here, but they're in this panel that lines up with the climate control, dual zone automatic climate control. And again, instead of just kind of sticking it wherever and having this console that comes down, it's just very nicely integrated. All the buttons are there. Heated seats, starter buttons right here. One of the things I don't love about the Mazda 3, the screen's beautiful. It looks like a nice little piece of Italian glass up there, but it's commanded by a console controller, the joy wheel down here. I think almost everybody's gone away from it. They've gone to nice big touch screens. They need that too. I don't know whoever thought it was a great idea. Well, I do. It was BMW to put a computer controller in the console of an automobile as you're trying to drive it 70 plus miles per hour. I think it's just stupid, but it works well enough once you figure it out. Volume controls down here as well. You've got redundant volume controls on the steering wheel, of course. This has wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, wireless phone charging here in the console. So all the comforts that you need there. This does not have the Bose audio system. You don't really need it. It sounds very nice anyway. This also does not have a heads-up display. That's an option. You don't really need it. It's okay. Anyway, got nice big clear gauges. It does have the power sunroof. And it pretty much does have the full suite of crash avoidance systems. You've got automatic emergency braking, you've got adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, blind spot warning, rear cross path detection, and rear view camera. So everything you need to do to stay safe. Well, one of the first things I noticed the first time I drove a Mazda 3 of this generation is just how well it handles and rides. It feels like an Audi. And when you see the spec sheet, it's hard to imagine that's true. This actually has a torsion beam rear suspension that's normally kind of a cheaper suspension system to save cost. But in this vehicle, the way it's isolated, first of all, it provides really balanced handling, but also I can just rumble over rough city streets and just boom, 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 boom. And I've been in far more expensive cars that don't handle those bumps nearly as well. So whatever Mazda has done, Mazda engineers have done to isolate the suspension, phenomenal job of it. This car feels like a car that's twice its price when you're driving it. The powertrain, plenty of power for what this car needs. Again, it's not super fast. Doesn't need to be. It's kind of an entry-level commuter car at its heart. But 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine. You can get a turbo optional. This one does not have the turbo on it. Doesn't need it. 186 horsepower, 186 pound-feet of torque. This has a 6-speed automatic transmission. A lot of cars in this class have continuously variable transmission that kind of whines and moans as you try to accelerate with it. But this is a proper transmission. And it's geared in such a way that it really almost feels like it has a turbo. So when you're starting away from a stoplight or trying to get on the freeway, the gearing's just right, plenty of power, and feels very nice. You can put this into a manual shift mode if you want. You can control it manually. There's also a sport mode that holds the gears just a little bit longer, just gives you a little more acceleration off the line. But I just really like the car. I think it just feels very balanced. Nothing extraordinary. I mean, there's nothing extremely expensive about this car, but just does everything well. It does have torque vector and all-wheel drive, so that kind of helps you when you're kind of clipping through the corners on a country back road on a nice day. It does kind of what it does is just over rotates the back just a little bit, just kind of sharpens the curves, and just use the all-wheel drive system to do that. When it snows like it is today a little bit, it's also nice to have that added traction. One nice thing I like about this, with the base four-cylinder, gas mileage is pretty good. 26 miles per gallon in the city, 34 on the highway. Hey everybody, it's Casey Williams. Well, as we entered the new automotive season this fall, the average price of a new vehicle crossed $50,000. And even for someone who makes way above average income, that is a lot of money for a new vehicle. But you can buy very nice cars for less than half of that average. Like this little sachet of cachet we have this week, the 2026 Mazda 3. Let's go look at it.